Welcome back to the Hoops Temple podcast. Y'all know me, Nathan Schwartz, and joining me from Sacramento, Aaron Schroeder. Aaron, how's it going?
It's going great. Got the hat on today for our visual watchers. Dylan couldn't make it today, but usually you guys have the hats, and I'm joining.
We just have our NBA swag, and for being such a basketball man, I would have hypothetically assumed that you would have more NBA swag.
I really don't. I really don't. I have my Kings shirts I wear to the games, but I'm really not a hat guy. I think I got this Oakland A's hat because um like I was at the games in the sun and it was like,
Mhm.
holy shit. I'm I am baking. The same reason I have a Niners hat. The Bay Area, you're like, oh, it's gonna be great, and then that sun gets to you.
Yeah, that's why I have a Lansing Lugnuts hats because baseball games, you gotta get a hat for them.
Mhm.
And if you're unfamiliar with extremely minor league baseball, Lansing Lugnuts, that's my team. Our uh, our mascot is Big Lug. He's a purple dinosaur with lug nuts for nostrils.
Hmm.
Very cheesy minor league stuff, but I love it.
Triple A? High
Single
A.
A,
Wow.
yeah.
Dude's watching
Yeah.
rookie ball. Hell yeah, dude.
They do good drink specials, good dog days, lots of fun themes. Like I think baseball
Hmm.
has mastered the fact that you can put out a terrible product. You don't have to have good players, but you can have a great in arena atmosphere and like make it fun, regardless of if this is a good game or a good team or anything.
Yeah, I'm looking through all their alumni. Cubs legend Jan Gomes, Yankees legend John Birdie. I mean, most of any of their affiliates will come through that, but all right.
All right. We're here for the NBA playoffs. We have seen the end of the Denver Nuggets, the end of the Boston Celtics, the end of the Cleveland Cavaliers, and the end of the Golden State Warriors. Let's kick things off with OKC Denver, where we saw Jokic. He plays as hard and as good as he can, but like at some point when you got MPJ on a missing shoulder, Aaron Gordon on one leg, Russell Westbrook out there playing basketball. There's only so much you can do. To force Game 7, I thought it was an amazing performance by Denver. Getting Julian Strother to come through in the clutch makes me a little bit more hopeful for the future. Maybe a little bit of the hey, if the young guys can finally piece it together, maybe they can redeem Calvin Booth's name and legacy. But what is your takeaway for Denver for after the series?
They're gonna head towards an era of transition for sure. They have some really terrible contracts. Porter's 2 for 80, and I mean he was just a flat zero for most of this series. It felt like. I mean, honestly, as one of the least close 7 game series ever, the Denver should have gotten swept probably. I mean, they really pulled out some crazy end game stuff. The Thunder outscored them by 62 points. It's the second biggest margin victory in a 7 game series. First is 84 points, 08 Celtics over the Hawks in the first round. And so, looking back on it, the Thunder were the better team the whole time. And really, every single thing that we knew about OKC, why they were so great, SGA being unguardable, Jalen Williams as the second option just gets the team clicking, the shooting, the defense, the depth, every single piece hit in game 7. And Denver just
Mm-hmm.
fell apart. And I feel like looking back on it, I think the better team won for sure. Um, and Denver has a lot of pieces to look around for. That Westbrook's probably gonna leave. It seems like, and as hot and cold as he was, they needed him to get
He was
past
a
the Clippers.
valuable piece for them. He was
Yeah.
actually playing like he had his blown layups. He had his bad moments that cost the team. But I would still say, on the whole, he had enough good moments that he was positive. And in comparison to some of the other guys that were out there or could have been out there for Denver, probably better that Westbrook got those minutes.
I saw a hypothetical trade that was like Porter Jr. for Jeremy Grant and Robert Williams. And I think maybe, I don't know, like Portland seems like the team that needs to consolidate a bit, especially the center position. Williams is, how many games is he going to be worth? And Grant's
Yeah.
contract is probably just as bad as Porter's. And I think, that's a real piece. That's a real move. Like, there are other bad contracts around here, and people who probably be willing to take a swing on Porter. He's 6'10", he shoots the light out. He played like shit, but his shoulder was all busted up. His value is low right now because of the contract, but it's not nearly long enough to scare teams off for good.
I have heard a lot of the like, hey, they need to break Michael Porter up into two pieces. And I think that is a lot easier said than done because who really wants Porter? Like, it's a lot of money for a guy that has never really produced at that level.
How old is Porter right now? He's only 26. He's only about to be 27. I feel like he was really good this year. 50% from the field, 40% from three, 18 points a night. Like, yeah, it gets bad. I'm looking at the trade machine right now to see what other people are throwing together.
It's not that he is bad. He is just not at the level of his contract. He is the Tobias Harris of like the next 5 years of a guy who is on this extremely large contract and does not fulfill it. And so trying to trade for that contract is a tough thing to do, especially coming off this playoff run where, yes, he's injured. Definitely going to call it that. But that doesn't necessarily make me as a receiving team. If I'm like, oh, yeah, I could trade for this guy that has a massive deal, was hurt last year. Maybe I can underpay to get him. Like, what is that underpay and who really wants it?
Do you want to hear the most recent proposed trade on Fanspo?
Was
a person
it
with a Sabrina Carpenter?
Was it MPJ for Kristaps Porzingis to give a little bit more rim protection?
It was not. Why can't I think of the name of this? It's like the not someone's logo, but they're like profile picture.
Their avatar.
Yeah, they're like their little fans for avatar.
Yeah.
This is the deal. 3-teamer. The Heat get Jonathan Isaac, Zeke Naji, Caleb Houston. The Magic take on Porter's contract. The Nuggets get KCP back, along with Duncan Robinson, Kevin Love in 2 seconds.
I mean, I think if you're getting, I would give up a Porter for KCP almost straight up. Getting back Duncan Robinson and some draft capital,
Love,
like
2 seconds. And if you're Orlando, KCP was not great, and you kind of bank on, hey, like Porter, if anything, like this guy's gonna hit 40% of his threes.
Yeah. I don't know that I love the spacing. The like for Orlando, just or I mean not the spacing because he can shoot threes, but more of like, can you play him, Franz Wagner, and Paolo together with another big? Yeah, like especially if you're playing Wendell Carter Jr. or Goga Bitadze, it defensively the matchups are kind of a nightmare.
I have a Kings one.
Oh, do you want
this? Is just this one says MPJ and Saric and a 2031 top 3 protected first for DeRozan, Monk in a second.
I feel like that's a lot. Are you willing to give up that?
Would I do that? I'm kind of interested in like any that first round pick, but
you're just ready to blow up the Kings. You don't want to have the Kings be a thing anymore.
Yes, I think we'd be so much worse. We'd be like a 30-win team if we did that. Because I think as much as DeRozan frustrates me, like dude wins regular season games. He figures it out, man. No, I think that's probably too much. I wouldn't be surprised if Monk gets moved.
I probably should be drinking that right into the microphone. But this pod brought to you by Big B.
Oh, really? Are we sponsored now?
No, but I live on their energy drinks now. So they've got these Boba Monster energy drinks. They're just fantastic. So, Big B, if you want to sponsor us, we'll take it.
We will take it. So Denver has a lot of cap issues. Denver has bad contracts, the best player in the world, and no depth. On OKC's side, though, is there anything telling you that they're not going to win the title now?
So I am a little bit worried about just the inconsistency of the other guys. Like
Sure.
I said it when we last recorded, but it worries me how much they have to rely on Caruso. Like Caruso is a player that I love dearly from his time in Los Angeles. His defense and just ability to defend multiple positions, switch on guys, create havoc, get in the passing lanes. Like those are all really great skills, but in the games where Kason Wallace, Aaron Wiggins, Isaiah Joe, the other kind of wild card players aren't hitting, and it's all Caruso. And then if you have one of the other stars, the J Dub or Chet, not providing much on offense, like they just had to rely so heavily on Caruso, and he came through for them time and time again. It does make me a little bit worried because I do think I think Minnesota has a cleaner roster, a cleaner kind of pecking order. They have the bona fide star in Anthony Edwards to match up with Shea, just to go star for star. And then I hate, it feels weird to say, Julius Randle is the third best player in this series, and I trust him to be a lot more consistent than
Mhm.
I do J Dub. He's been more consistent
Sure.
throughout the playoffs. He's been better, and I think he's got a nice size advantage to bully through J Dub. And if you try to put like Chet or Hartenstein on him, I think he knows how to handle those types of players. Use his size to go against Chet, and then speed to go around Hartenstein. Like I'm kind of expecting it to be a decently good the Julius Randle series, and OKC is in my mind relying a lot more on the wild cards or the other guys to step up than Minnesota will be.
I feel like I disagree with
Okay,
you.
break it down.
Could I have a second? Sorry, my boss texted me.
Yeah.
I think I disagree with you, honestly. And I've been wrong about Minnesota time and time again. I think I picked against them in every single playoff series Anthony Edwards has ever played in. And I think OKC is going to destroy them. They just went up against the best offensive player of this generation and muted him in a game 7 and it handled him throughout that series. Like they know
Wait, wait,
how
wait,
to
wait,
play
wait.
the
Muted and handled this man. This man forced them to game 7 with two players on one
They got
fewer limb
blast.
than usual.
They got I mean, overall, like, none of the metrics were close. There was some close games. OKC did some boneheaded shit a couple times. Like, and it overall, like, in the series, it was the second least close 7-game series ever. It was closer to a sweep than Denver winning that series.
Okay, but the truth factors that matter. Games 1, very
Yeah,
close. And 2, Minnesota didn't have that. Minnesota dispatched it's
yeah,
LeBron and Luca with
sure.
ease.
Luka
Minnesota,
Doncic at this point, like, I mean, I think they knew how to attack Luka, and the Lakers are a roster
sure,
that was not ready,
sure.
and then Steph goes out, and, like, I think the Wolves have looked good, but you're telling me they're gonna go from, like, a Jokic-led offense to Anthony Edwards shot selection? Like, to Julius Randle has been phenomenal. He ate up Draymond Green. We're gonna
Mm-hmm.
sing his praises in our top 100 over the offseason,
Mm-hmm.
and OKC's gonna dismantle them. And a stretch 5 against Gobert is always been problematic for him. The Wolves are a good team. There really are levels to this. And I think that OKC's gonna have the best player, they're gonna have the best depth, they're gonna have the best defense, and they have the best shooting. There's no room. I think OKC's winning pretty handily. And God forbid they play. I mean, it's gonna be a messy finals. The Knicks and the
Sure,
Pacers aren't ready for this.
sure. And to be fair, when you asked me the question of is there any way Minnesota can do this, I did answer yes, and I gave
Yeah,
you my reasons for them. I would say OKC is the favorite. I mean, they're the juggernaut. They're the best win loss percentage. They're in the league by an astounding margin. They dominate Denver or by the numbers, but they're not as battle tested. The idea of Gobert versus stretch 5 is a nice idea in theory. Chet's not been hitting his threes as well. Well, and if they're playing Hartenstein and Chet together, that's not a stretch 5 anymore. You now have a nice, easy place for Gobert to hide it on Hartenstein and be able to stay in kind of that mid range in Jerry and help take away stuff from SGA. So
Sure.
you know,
He's still hitting
it's not a perfect
32%.
formula.
He's still hitting
32% is not great.
32%. But he's taken 5 a game. He's taken 5. I think what's important is like you're pulling. They have a way to play a center who can take Gobert away from the rim. And the
They,
Lakers never had anything like that. And the Warriors didn't have anything like that.
what are you talking about? But the Lakers totally had that. They had Dorian Finney-Smith and Rui Hachimura
Yeah.
playing all of their center minutes.
They
They played the
tried.
same 5 guys for an
Yeah.
entire half.
No, they
Which,
tried.
you know, like, not to derail things, but playing guys for an entire half, not unusual. But usually it's 1 or 2 guys. Normally,
All
normally
5 of
your
them?
fifth starter, your fifth starter
Shout out
and
JJ.
your first guy off the bench is not that big of a difference. But like, yeah.
Yeah. Shout out JJ. No, for sure. That was a hell of a pull. Okay. What do you think about? Here's the next question I have. So OKC beats Denver. Minnesota is waiting for them. Minnesota feels like they kind of shut the window on Golden State. Where are you at with them right now?
So I don't know that I feel like Minnesota necessarily shut the window because everything changes with Steph Curry. Like, I think it's less to do with Minnesota and more to do with the Curry injury because if Curry was out against Houston, I think they lose to Houston. I think if Curry's out and they played basically any one of the other 7 teams in the West playoffs, they lose that series. And so my big question is just, what does Curry look like next season? What do the other guys look like next season? Can we stop talking about Draymond Green being like a great individual player? He is great when he is amplified by Curry and amplifies Curry. Like there's
Yeah.
um,
There's so much value in that, though.
Fish. They're the like fish that cleans the shark. They're symbiotic to each other.
I would say it's closer to like an anglerfish. You know how the male anglerfish latches itself onto the female one and then dies? But like he did it. He you know what I'm talking about?
No, but
The male anglerfish are like an inch long. I think I have the genders right. And they swim up to a female and they latch on and they just die. They not like die, but they like merge into one thing.
Yeah.
That's what Draymond is to Steph. Steph is like the actual anglerfish. It's like, you see the picture, that's like a female. And then the males, they're like stuck on the side. But honestly, in the offseason, I have plans for Draymond Green propaganda because of how he's elevated, like when he plays with Steph, how they seem to overcome so many roster issues and elevate to the highest of highs years ago. Yeah, when Steph is out, Draymond can't do it, and he gets ejected, and it looks bad. But I agree. I think the Warriors are in a place where they have to start consolidating even more. I mean, they made the Butler deal. How much can we cut this roster down? Do you have 13 guys you like, or can you find a good 7 or 8?
Yeah, that's gonna be huge because like their center rotation, just for example. I got really into Quentin Post most of the times this year where he's knocking down threes, he's providing the spacing, which helps that he can be a 7-footer that you camp at the rim, but can have more mobile on offense or just on the perimeter offense. That helps with the spacing if you're going to have Jimmy and Draymond out there. I like Jackson Davis. He's a much better roller. He's a little bit more athletic. I thought the fact that he went from out of the rotation to starting is wild. And Kevon Looney a few years ago was the difference maker, the bully ball, the strength and the rebounding. But like, it would not shock me if in any given game, like one of those guys does not play at all. It would also not shock me if one of those guys starts and gets 25 minutes. And I think that's a bad place to be for your team and for knowing what it is. It's like nice to have that optionality, but it's hard to develop anything. So I'd love to see them return with just one of those guys on the roster, one of those 3 centers, and a better center. Like combine 2 of them, do a 2-for-1 somewhere, or send 2 of them to the Lakers, have Austin Reeves go somewhere and get a decent center back. Like, not exactly that trade, but just the idea of we need to shore up and know what our team is and really figure that out and have some ways to play within that.
It's just so tricky. It's so tricky for them to find size and find a center given like I mean they guard Jimmy Butler like he's Ben Simmons, and they guard Draymond Green
Hmm.
like he's worse
Hmm.
Ben Simmons. I mean, they sag off him. Steph is such an insane shooter that he's able to make up 3-point difference playing those two guys. I feel like they've kind of bought into that. Um, I think the piece is Kaminga. I think there's like sign and trade potential for that for sure. Do you have an ideal landing place for Jonathan Kaminga?
Not particularly. I've seen a lot of the mock trades get sent him other places. I saw one sending him to Chicago for Vucevic, and like I think if you look at Vucevic as a 25 minutes a night center, you're a minutes eater for the regular season. Draymond Green playing the primary role of center in clutch moments or big games, but Vu just being a guy who go out there, make some passes, play pretty good offense. Like I kind of like that for Golden State.
Honestly, that's nice. That's nice. And but you cannot count on Chicago doing something smart.
I mean,
They're gonna look at that and say, "Man, are we gonna win 38 games if we do this? How are we gonna win 38? If it's 45, don't bother me about it. 35, don't bother me about it. 38 wins for me, please."
Aaron, that very well might be a second round Eastern Conference team next year, or with everything that the East is going
I'd
through.
love to see Kaminga just like, yeah, here's 40 minutes. Go ahead. Like
Yeah,
let's really see like what, because I think he is good, but I think he's good in a way that doesn't really lend itself to what Golden State does. It's
I pref-
very similar to like you had to play great defense and make smart decisions and pass the ball and cut without the ball and like all this stupid lame shit that great teams do. You have to really like buy in, and I don't think Kaminga's at that point, but I think he could be good for a Chicago, a less serious environment.
I refer to him as this generation's Michael Beasley because Beasley had talent. Beasley could do things. There was always like a talk about how Beasley beat LeBron James in one-on-one during their time together in Miami, and I'm like, I guess sure, fine. If he's a one-on-one guy and that's what he does, like great. But it doesn't mean he can do it in 5-on-5. That doesn't mean he's more valuable. And I see Kaminga as having a lot of really good one-on-one skills or scoring. I think Brooklyn's going to throw a good number at him and try to make Golden State match it, which could hurt their trade value. But I don't think as Golden State you can let him walk. Like you have to match it and try to do a sign and trade. But
Mm.
I would love to see Brooklyn drive up that price.
I think it's possible. I think it's possible. I saw some nasty like sign and traded the Sacramento to the Kings, and I don't know. I
I've
can't get on board.
I've seen ones sending him to Boston to try to fill the Tatum role, and
Mm,
then taking back Drew Holiday or taking back some combination of Al Horford and other pieces,
mm.
is which does not help the Warriors' age, but you know, Horford is the ageless wonder. Uh,
No, he really
like
is.
as impressive as what LeBron's been doing, I feel like I'm a little bit less surprised that LeBron is doing what LeBron's doing when I look at LeBron's like physical stature and bodies. Like you're like, hey, this guy is defying the age curve. You're like, yeah, have you seen him? Like, kind of makes a little bit of sense. The fact that Al Horford is still doing what he's doing, I'm like, oh, that's kind of surprising.
It feels like we should take a real look at Horford on our all-time list, honestly. He's had a
I'm
positive
for it.
on-off number every single year since 2010. Just year in, year out, this team's better with him on the floor than without. Um, what he's played in 36 playoff series. It's been an insane career. He's just as good now as he was last year too. And I really thought this was going to be the end for him, but no.
Yeah,
Boston's an interesting spot though. I've seen so many. They've been like the hot topic recently about they
sure.
have to get under the cap. They have this holiday thing. They have this Kristaps thing. What could they do?
Well, I think the big question is how good is Cooper Flag going to look in a Celtics uniform next year?
When they trade Jalen Brown to Dallas?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Listen, Flag is going to take a while to develop. He's not going to be white 6'7" kg on day one. You're going to have to, work with him. him for a bit. Like, Nico, is that really what you want to do? Boston's already. I don't know if they brought him in for a workout, but they at least interviewed him, and I think that's a very strange move for a team that is nowhere near the chances of picking him. But he's been like a proclaimed lifelong Celtics fan. His mom's a huge Celtics fan. I I kind of wonder if they're going to try to pull something off here and say, hey, Nico, you want this championship now. We can give you guys who can help you get this championship now.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know how you make it work cap wise. I think that's going to be tricky.
Give me just a moment because I'm curious with that one. I really am.
I mean, Jaylen Brown is on an insanely large contract. Yeah. Like you almost have to trade for Kyrie Irving on the Achilles. And I don't know that I love like
that's
Dallas's. Yeah, Boston trading back for Kyrie.
2025 round 1 trade to Celtics. Let's see. So that fails because I need to cut $53 million. Okay.
Just 53 mil.
Let me find $53 million real quick. So you have Kyrie's expiring. And Gafford's expiring. And then you send Kristaps. Holy shit, I'm cooking. 1 second.
I mean, you might have to send Drew as well to get it to get the Dallas a point guard, but I'm just
and honestly, I think let's get Kristaps out of there. $5 million from the Celtics incoming. Jaden Hardy.
And just remember, Kyrie is it's a player option for next year. So there is an ability for him to opt out, get signed for more money.
Yeah.
To make this happen. There's a lot of flexible things that you could do to make it
work. Okay. So I think it's like why the fuck is this not working? Oh, it's like a second apron thing. Yeah, it's like a second apron. It's like a second apron thing. But anyway, Kyrie, Gafford, and number 1 for Jaylen Brown and Hauser. I think it works for some reason. I think it might work during the draft time. If I don't know if the second apron is in effect. I'm not entirely sure. You know what I mean? Like I think this is like during the season, but when some of these expirings come off the book, things might change. Yeah, I mean, hey, man. Yeah, I think Nico would do that. I think you would love to do that. Give him Jaylen Brown.
I think if you could figure out a way to do it without Kyrie, and if Kyrie was healthy, the chance to get Brown and another piece from Boston or something like just to have a title ready team and without worrying about rookies like that'd be interesting. But I don't think that's actually very realistic. I do think what is realistic is Boston tries to figure out a way to get off of Drew Holiday, to get off of Kristaps Porzingis, and really not bottom out for the year, but try to retool, try to go younger, try to say, hey, we're taking in 2026 off, and we'll be a 40-win team. We'll be 500 because we're keeping Derek White, we're keeping Jaylen Brown, and that's a good enough duo to keep us kind of in play. With your Chicagos, with your Atlantas, but we're not doing anything too major.
I think people are going to really appreciate Tatum next season. Watching Jaylen Brown first option hoops, it's going to be tough, man. Like the defense he brings, the playmaking he brings, the versatility, like he connects that team in a way that people just simply do not understand. It's a in a way a perfect roster with so little flaws because every single hole is filled by Tatum. And he has that ability. And Brown, even, I mean, of course he's banged up and the injury news comes out right after, but he was awful in the last game against the Knicks, wildly out of control.
Yeah. I mean, the way you cover for that, the way you cover for Brown is you create more holes. You cannot run back the same roster with just a missing Tatum. Like you
Mhm.
need to kind of break it and retailor it around for Brown being your best guy. Because I think back to the Magic with T Mac and Grant Hill. You lost Grant Hill for
Mhm.
years, and it's all T Mac. You got to kind of reshape things instead of being the two of them. How do you have it just be the one of them? And that's got things going.
Yeah.
But
So looking at that Eastern Conference, Boston's out of it. I mean, what a there has to be something. Injuries obviously were kind of like the main storyline, but when we see so many 60-win teams, I feel like there's some sort of like dynamic. Like something's going on. In the same way, like in 2016, the Warriors win 73, they lose in the finals. In the Spurs win 67, they lose in the second round. There's like something about like maybe it's like the tanking is just so bad that these teams are really trying in the regular season and they're able to get these crazy win totals. I mean, there is a chance. I mean, I know I said like the OKC series wasn't as close as it seemed, but there is a bit where every 60 win team on earth is on the ropes, and OKC
mm,
was the one to survive. Out of Cleveland and um, Boston, title contentions both out in the second round. What are you thinking for? I guess for Cleveland.
I Cleveland, I think there's some bad energy around them. Um, I remember was it last year or 2 years ago where they lost to the Knicks and Jared Allen kind of said, hey, the lights were too bright. We weren't ready for the moment. And then this year, or when they got bounced, Kenny Atkinson kind of, wasn't as harsh on his guys and kind of the same way. It was like, well, we were injured and you're trying to fight through these things. And it's like, yeah, the injuries do play a big part. Almost every time a 60-win team has lost in the second round, which has happened. I went back to 2010, and it's happened more often than you'd think. It's happened like 4 or 5 times.
Hmm.
But you mentioned the Spurs, and that's the year they lost Kawhi.
Yeah.
The Bulls in 2011 and or
I actually
2012
don't know
had
if
it
that's
happen.
true, dude. I think you might be. I think Kawhi played in that series.
I'm pretty sure that's the Zaza.
No,
No, is
it's. I
that
think
the year
that's.
afterwards?
Yeah, that's the year
I went
after.
through and did all these looks, and most of the time, it was some sort of an injury. There's a weird
Yeah.
Spurs Memphis year where I couldn't
Mm-hmm.
find an injury on it, but like the 60-win Bulls in
Mm-hmm.
2012 lose because Rose is hurt, and like Cleveland didn't lose anyone for the series, but Garland wasn't himself. Mobley looked really rough after the games he played. Mitchell was hurt at the end of it there. Like if you tell me a team is out or four of a team's seven best players, counting, DeAndre Hunter, are hurt, like
Yeah.
cool. Who's really gonna survive four of your top seven being hurt, including
It's
three
just
of your
so
top three.
tricky. It's so tricky because you can look at that and say this team could win a championship, and I think the Cavs could have if they were healthy. But it's so hard. It's so challenging to be like, all right, let's do this again. See you guys next year.
Yeah,
Another 365 days and we can try this again. It gets to people and it wears on people and it wears on the players and like the grumblings, the offseason grumbling. I think a Jared Allen trade is real. I think that's a definite possibility. They move to Mobley full time at the 5 and just try to spice things up.
if I was Cleveland, my first call would be to Golden State and be like, "Hey, Jared Allen for Draymond Green. Tell me what you think."
Whew. Ooh, okay.
You said spice
Interesting.
things up, and then
You're not calling Sacramento for Demonis Sabonis?
no, I want some fire. I want
Nah.
some passion. I want
Yeah.
someone who's going to pick up a few flagrants fighting people on my team's behalf. And I think I would expect Golden State to have a quick no, and then you try to pivot around and like, hey, is there a way they could add Dylan Brooks? Is
Yeah.
just like
Give us
who's got
something.
some fire? Because the fact that it was Max Struess sending out the text of the rallying cry of like, hey,
Mhm.
you know, if you're not
Let's
ready
do
to play, don't
this.
show up, and then like going over nine. Like
Mhm.
you need someone with some fire and some passion. Um, and I think the Cavs have a lot of guys who are very calm, passive. in their leadership. Like I want to see them be a little bit more demonstrative. I used to always say that championship teams need a little bit of crazy. You have to have that one
Yeah.
guy that like you're Ron Artest, you're Steven Jackson, um, you're Dennis Rodman. Like you need to have some crazy on your team, and I don't think they have that crazy.
It does feel like they were kind of like normal SpongeBob.
Yeah.
I'm normal. Hi guys. I'm the Cleveland Cavaliers. You know the episode I'm talking about?
Yeah, I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm good in the regular season. I can look at my statistical numbers. I do want to say Cleveland ruined basketball analytics this year because like by all of the metrics, they're better than Indiana. And so if you and I, if we had this conversation beforehand, we're like, well, who are you picking? It's like, well, Cleveland has this
Mhm.
defensive advantage and has this offensive advantage, and they put up threes at this rate. And it's like, well, I
Mhm.
like Indiana. Why do you like Indiana? I just have a gut feeling. Like that's like because all of basketball
Indiana.
discourse is just this numbers based now, and there's not enough gut feeling. And when there is gut feeling, it's like, well, let me show you the numbers where you're wrong. And
I think I had
uh,
Cavs in 6 in my official prediction. I respected Indiana.
sure,
I thought they'd beat Milwaukee um and so I mean at least I was there. But to talk about the Eastern Conference, we have a Pacers or Knicks Eastern Conference champion. One of these teams is going to the finals, man. And this is a repeat of
hmm
2000 and 1999. Ewing and Reggie Miller, Latrell Sprewell. What a matchup. I need an official prediction.
Can we get
Knicks
Latrell Sprewell on
Pacers.
the call?
Could we call Latrell Sprewell?
No, I
It's
mean we can't.
possible.
We don't have Latrell Sprewell's number, but
Oh, you
like
wanted him to call the game? I was gonna call
yeah,
it.
Reggie Miller's on the call. Or can we get Jeff Van Gundy back? Listen, the Clippers have been eliminated. Jeff's got nothing better to do. I want a Knicks representative to be on the broadcast booth
Well,
going up
Frazier
against
still
Reggie.
calls games, doesn't he?
You can't have Frazier and Reggie. That's just not
Yeah.
fair. Like
Yeah.
I need someone who's going to fight Reggie.
Yeah, Frazier's too nice of a guy.
Exactly.
Ewing could just have Ewing do it.
So I mentioned
What's
this.
Charles Oakley up to?
Oh God, I don't think he's allowed in the Garden anymore.
Is he still banned? Is he still banned? No, they
No,
reinstated.
I
They
think they
brought him
reinstated
back.
him, but
I
um,
think I'm just so torn on who's gonna win this series. I kind of think the Pacers are going to the finals. And that just
I
sounds insane. I just think it's gonna happen. I think the difference is the Pacers have like 11 guys they love.
yeah
And they're gonna play like the bench versus bench minutes for as few as they might be. The Pacers are gonna fucking own that. They're gonna win those minutes by like 15. And I really think their starters are good enough to keep up in the meantime.
I think they've got a lot of options to throw at at the Knicks, and like the way that we've seen the Knicks be defended or Karl Anthony Towns be defended has been by putting the smaller wing on him, Pascal Siakam, or not smaller wing, but your power forward, and then having your center as a roamer. Siakam's going to be great at that. Obi Toppin getting a chance to have a little bit of revenge against Tibbs is
Ooh.
going to be. I think he's going to have some moments. Um, and then guarding Jalen Brunson, Nemhard and Neesmith and Benedict Mathurin, like that's just a pesky. Like anywhere he turns, he's going to have like the shit annoyed out of him. And for Indiana, like sure, you can put Mikal Bridges on Halliburton. You can put OG Ananobi on Pascal. Knows him very intimately. They've played for years together in Toronto. I'm sure, like, if you want to put anybody on Pascal Siakam, OG's got to be like top 3 of the guys that you want to defend Pascal with. But Tyrese is just going to pass. Like Tyrese is going to be able to set up the other guys in ways that I don't know that Brunson's going to be able to. And I'm for the first time in forever, first time in a long time, I'm picking Indiana. I've picked against them multiple times. I traded them away after picking them in our win draft.
Yeah, he
Uh,
was winning that.
I think I still am. I would have been
Yeah,
just crushing you guys if I had kept Indiana. Had to keep you guys in the loop, but
Golden State's out. I can fix that.
yeah.
I only have the Knicks left.
Ooh, you gotta be cheering harder for the Knicks. But I'm all in on the Midwest Finals. I think OKC is my pick from like the statistical perspective or the like objective. But I'm cheering for
Mhm.
the Midwest Finals. I want Indiana. I want Minnesota. I want this um, to be the. I haven't checked the math, but I think it would be the closest two finals teams have ever been to each other, uh,
Wow.
geographical distance wise.
The closest two finals teams have ever been to each other.
Sorry, not ever, but since the westward expansion has like
Yeah.
happened, because like
Gotta
there were
be, right?
times, yeah, like since I don't know, since like the 70s or
Well,
since the merger.
who have the Spurs played? The Spurs and I guess Dallas played the Heat twice. Spurs.
Spurs played the Pistons, the Nets. Um,
Pistons might be kind of, I mean, that's like more like a, you
that's
know,
that's a
a north south
that's re-
thing, but we're talking about like pure closeness, yeah.
yeah. I do
But
think the
OKC to Indiana. Let's see.
OKC to Indiana may also be very close, but OKC is in Midwest.
740 miles. San Antonio to Detroit.
What are we looking at?
So San Antonio to Detroit's like twice as far as OKC to Indiana, which looking at it makes sense, given that
How
both
many
states are
miles?
fucking 1,400.
See, the Proclaimers wouldn't walk that because they'll walk 500 miles and then they'll walk
Mm,
500 more
that's
just to
true, but
be the
another
man who walked
450.
1,000 miles.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but another 450 on top of that, just can't do it.
yeah,
Can't
just
do
can't do it. The Proclaimers will walk the Minnesota to Indiana
it.
finals.
Oh, you want Minnesota? I looked up OKC.
No, Minnesota. The Midwest finals.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah, this is only 409. Sorry, 591. So
Yeah,
that's even closer.
yeah, no,
Okay, and the
it's
Proclaimers would walk that, then just a little bit extra. They would.
mhm. Like they'll be able to save up those extra miles to walk to
Yeah,
San Antonio.
you'd pass through Chicago if you were driving between these cities. That's the closest the Bulls are going to get to the finals in a long time.
Not believing in the Giddy experience.
If they hand Josh Giddey $30 million a year, the organization should be burnt to the ground. Like you think about like
It's gonna happen.
kneecapping yourself or like shooting yourself in the foot. What if you shot your knee with a 12 gauge shotgun and blew your leg clean fucking off? Like there's levels to shooting yourself in the foot. What if you stood in front of artillery and just got vaporized, just turned into a physics equation? I think that's like the equivalent of handing. I mean, like Giddy will put up these triple doubles, and he put like there is the Thunder show you like there's a ceiling on non-shooting, non-defensive wings.
I think if you look at it like this, would you rather have Giddy on 30 million
Mhm.
or DeAndre Ayton on 30 million? And you can sit here
Ooh,
and be like, you know what? There's a case to have DeAndre Ayton. That's when you know it's bad. Like you don't
I
have to
don't
choose
think I
Ayton, but when you
honestly
have to
think
weigh it,
I think I would take Giddy. I think DeAndre
oh,
Ayton's the worst player in the league, and I really believe that.
I, I, I will take Ayton from a sheer like
Really?
replacement. Yeah, from a replacement value theory of like,
No.
okay, Ayton, like I can find other wings easier than I can find other bigs. And so like if I have to like cheap out on one, like yeah. But that's not what we're here to talk about today. Where are
I
you
mean, Josh
going?
Giddy
What are
did
your finals
shoot.
picks?
Josh Giddy did shoot 38% from three. Like he had an improved season. He was better than he was last year.
Sure.
DeAndre Ayton's unfucking playable. It's gonna be OKC and Indiana, and OKC's gonna win in 4.
Yeah, I do just want to say this is not going to be a long finals. Like
No.
we're going to have some time off to really dig into draft picks because the finals is not going to be a 6 gamer.
No.
I'll say it
It's
could be
just and
5.
like Indiana has their devil magic, right? And they can pull out a game, but guys, like there's nothing like OKC in the Eastern Conference. There's nothing like it. They are crushing defensively. The depth Indiana has, OKC has it better. I think SGA is gonna walk away the best player in the world. And I had a TikTok comment today. Someone asked me if SGA would be the best player, and people seem to say no. Guys, if SGA wins 68 games, the regular season MVP, beats Jokic, walks him down in Game 7, wins the finals and the Finals MVP,
Caruso locked him down.
Only a fool's fool would tell you that SGA isn't the best player in the world. Do you think Caruso locking up Jokic just crushed his all-time stock?
No.
I was going to put him above Hakeem, but I can't do it anymore.
Oh, I'm still definitely putting him above Hakeem.
No, you're not. You can't do that.
We're 100% doing that this summer.
No, I have to approve it.
We'll get there.
I'll think about it. Let me put Hakeem above Dr. J because I think I'm ready for that.
Yeah, we can do that.
Right.
But then we're putting Jokic above both of them.
You think so?
Listen, Jokic. I don't know what you walk away from that series and be like, Jokic sucked. Like Jokic, it was a 30-point triple-double basically for the entire year, including the playoffs, with Aaron Gordon on.
Aaron Gordon got hurt in the last game, dude. Like it's not like Aaron Gordon was phenomenal throughout that series. Like they got. I don't know.
But like Aaron Gordon and Murray are his second and third best players, and like. The drop off from that to the fourth guy. Who do you want to claim? Yeah. I guess Brown is the fourth guy, but like
Christian Brown, very good, and even the fourth guy, he was high. He was better than that. I mean, I thought he was fantastic.
There's a reason why he took Facundo Campazzo to a near 50-win season. Jokic is that guy, and he showed it again this year. And Denver is mercilessly cheap. In their surrounding him with talent, and if they had given him a roster half as good as what he deserves, they are the finals. They are the title team.
Possibly. Hakeem went back to back. That's all I'll say. Hakeem went back to back.
Yeah, because they went out and got him Clyde Drexler after they won the first title and the second.
They won a championship, but I think he won a title with less help. He's had tougher roads. They beat tons of 50-win teams. Clyde Drexler is fantastic. At that point in their career, is the
Clyde
best
Drexler
version.
drops a 40-point game to avoid elimination.
What did Jamal Murray do in 2023? What did he do to your Lakers? What did he do to your Lakers? Jamal Murray was better in 2023 than Drexler was in 95.
No, not even close.
Yeah, he was. Yes, he was.
Drexler was 13.
Yes, he was. Oh, bullshit. Jamal Murray should.
No, he was. And the reason why they beat so many 50-win teams is because they were garbage in the regular season and did not have a good record until they traded for Drexler.
And what about the Nuggets? Are they getting high seeds?
No.
They're the 4th seed every year. All right.
Yeah, because this man has no help.
You're gonna throw a Jokic pity party, huh?
Listen, Hakeem had no help, and then they went and got him
back to back.
Because they got him Clyde Drexler.
You're giving Drexler far too much credit.
No, Drexler outplays Penny Hardaway in the finals. Drexler had an amazing series. Drexler. That team does not go back to back without Drexler. They don't come close to it.
I get that. And Jokic loses in the first round without Jamal Murray, and Hakeem has 2 championships. Back-to-back playoff runs of 30, 10, and 4 with 3.5 blocks. Best scorer in the league, best player in the world. I'm just saying, there's a whole career in one of an all-time great center peak. We'll discuss it. We'll discuss it. You have me defending Hakeem Olajuwon after all this time. Look at me.
Jokic. This is a 5-year stretch where Jokic wins 3 MVPs and takes second in the other 2 years.
He sucks on defense.
It's phenomenal. It's unbelievable.
The thing is,
he's not that bad on defense anymore.
Don't bullshit me. He's average. He's average at best. He's average at best.
No, I mean,
how many 30-point games has
he calls
Jokic?
out?
Like, how many 30-point games have Jokic's teammates had in the playoffs for him? And you're telling me about Clyde Drexler?
Yeah.
Was
What was that?
I need to do some research. I just need to. I really want to measure up the help because I feel like
Well,
I
okay.
really think those 2 runs are as special as they seem. Basically punking every single good player in the NBA for 8 straight playoff rounds. There's just something about it, man. There's just something about it.
Okay, but
Taking the end. Go ahead.
we have to do this right because there's
Yeah.
2 terrible things that always happen when people do these comparisons. One, they compare Hakeem's help versus like modern day help when the league is just
Mhm.
deeper. Everyone in
Yeah.
the modern league has more help. They also are going up against teams with more help. If you compare Hakeem's help versus the guys he plays, like, oh man, Kenny the Jet Smith is like arguably the second best player. Patrick Ewing's second best player is John Starks. What is the difference between Starks and Kenny Smith? Like, it's a lot less. It it's a lot closer than saying Kenny Smith versus Jamal Murray in that first title. Like,
And honestly, it's not even the help that I'm like want to get caught up on. He's averaging 30 and he's the best defender in the league too in these seasons. Like there is this system around him in this offensive peak. And I
mhm,
really feel like there's something special. I think just looking back on it, I mean, let's just talk about how we got here. We didn't like Hakeem because those 3 years, those 2 years are outliers compared to the rest of his career.
yes, but they're great
And
outliers. They are.
they're great outliers, and I think there's something to that. I'm just gonna look at my scale real quick.
The other
The
thing
Bible.
that's really special is while he does not have an individual help, he stylistically has a very unique thing where Houston kind of cracks the code for threes. They're putting up more
Mhm.
threes than anyone else in the league. They're putting them up at a good level, and like it's kind of a numbers game that they figure out the equation to and are ahead of the curve on. And where
Mhm.
if we put up threes, that also gives him more spacing that allows him to have that outlier efficiency where he starts to be more efficient and be able to score more easily than he had ever before.
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
we're not here for Hakeem and Jokic.
Okay.
We'll do a
All right.
pod
Yeah,
later this
we will.
year.
We will.
Um, okay, so I think we've gotten our playoff stuff out of the way. I feel like
Yeah.
if we've talked through that, we haven't talked since the lottery, have we?
No, I
On
don't
air.
remind me. Don't remind me.
So we
That
have,
was the worst day in NBA history.
yeah, it was. I appreciated listening to Zach Lowe, who was in the room, discuss how the process is. And the way it goes is that they pull out 4 lottery balls, and high numbers on the first couple of balls keep more teams in play. And he like broke it down ball by ball. And when it got down to the fourth ball, basically everyone was in play. The remaining numbers, the Spurs had like 2 of the 14 possible combinations to get it. The Raptors, if there was like one number off, would have won it. All of these different options, but instead it goes to the least deserving general manager. The only thing I'll say is like for Dallas fans who had Luca, had the like next 10 years of their franchise, in good shape, in um, good hopes, to have him
Mhm.
ripped away. Like I feel I'm at least happy for Mavs fans because they did not deserve what Nico did to them.
Friend of the pod, Montaigne, is back. He's back on board. He had renounced Dallas and his Dallas fandom for basically since the Luca trade, but he's back in. Welcome back to rooting for your team again. And yeah, I'm disgusted. I hate the Western Conference. I hate it so
That's
much.
brutal.
It's so fucking bad because like you have these just dog shit teams, Washington and Utah. Brooklyn's gonna be fucking awful again. Toronto is stuck in hell. Like maybe that's probably too mean to Toronto. They'll be fine next year, but still, like, are the Wizards ever gonna be good? Ever? Is it just like the Western Conference is gonna be just the place to be. Like just like every single good team is in the West for the next 10 years, and Washington's gonna like it's just like God damn it, dude. Like the product fucking blows, man. I don't want to watch the Wizards win 15 games next year. They're gonna do that again. It's just so bad.
I've made this point in the past, but one of the terribleness of this like conference imbalance, and kind of the flat lottery odds, is that if you don't make the Western Conference playoffs, like because they're brutal and very hard to get into, and then you win the lottery, like Dallas was the last team out for the West. The
Yeah.
previous year, Atlanta was like the last team out for the East, and Atlanta gets Risachet. And like even if they had gotten a Cooper Flag, what like it doesn't make them an instant juggernaut. You know, if they got a Wemby, maybe, but like the West being so good at the top pushes their teams down. When the West is able to beat up on those bad teams and they look even worse, they're able to have these good chances of winning the lottery if you're Utah, or if you have a bad chance of winning the lottery, like what we saw with Dallas, but get bumped up because of just the randomness there. Like they're now back in title contention if Kyrie can come back sometime next year. Like it's just this never ending circle of great teams push good teams down to average. When I was digging into expansion, like one of the reasons why there aren't as many like super terrible seasons during the mass expansion era, the 90s, is because when you add more bad teams, like bad teams get to go 500 against each other and it makes them look not as bad. Instead of having like 15 win seasons, they're able to put together 24 win seasons. But when you've got so many good West teams, instead of having what would be a 40 win season in the East, it's a 23 game win season in the West. And like, it's just brutal.
I'm just gonna say it. The lottery's fucking dumb, and you should get rid of it entirely. Every other sport, like I mean, the NFL is different because it's only 17 games, and everyone tries their ass off in every game. There is no tanking in the NFL. Well, there's no tanking outside the last like week or two, where teams are like aware of that. But even then, you really can't get guys on board like that. Like Lovie Smith and the Texans, and they went for it, fourth and like 20, and got it and won and lost the first overall pick, and then that coach got fired the day after. Maybe that evening they fired him. And you can't even because guys are like, "What the? Are you fucking kidding me? Like I'm gonna get fired for this shitty season because you went 2-15. I want to have a job. I'm gonna try to win every game." Let me ask you this: would there be any more tanking? Would tanking get any more egregious if there was no lottery? If it's just straight up record? Would you even how much worse could it get though? Look at these lineups these teams are putting out in fucking February, dude. Like the Sixers played unrecognizable players from the All-Star break on, and you're telling me it could get worse than that?
Yes. Yeah, I mean it's happened. And like even the 76ers doing that really had nothing to do with the lottery. They weren't trying to win it. They were just trying to keep their pick because it was top 6 protected. Like, removing the lottery doesn't necessarily make them any more or less likely. Like they're still going to tank to try to keep that pick.
The odds are flattened, and teams are tanking worse than they ever have before. Even the process Sixers looked like the process Sixers would have won 25 games this year with like if they like in the way they were trying. Like it has been so bad that they've named entire eras off of how much they tanked, and even then, those teams weren't taking as hard as teams are today. And the odds are flattened. Fuck it, man. Just make it straight record.
There's a reason why the lottery was instituted, and it was because this was that bad. Like I don't, I do worry about even more flattening of this, or because like there should never be a debate between getting the last playoff spot or wanting to be in the lottery because you might end up like Dallas did this year and winning it. Like I think if anything, we do need to skew it a little bit better. I think the flatten to 14 for the bottom 3 teams, maybe that needs to be 20 for the bottom 3.
Yeah.
And then like if you are if you're not in the I don't know, maybe you just have the lottery be like the bottom 5 teams in the league. Everyone else is straight by record. And like get rid of this kind of middle ground. But
How about how about the bottom, like, I don't know, 10, 5 from each car, like, or something, instead of, was it 14 or something? Or
yeah,
so it's just like there's like the 10 teams get into the lottery instead of, so just like let's get the shitty teams. And the fact that Dallas is going to be a playoff team next year and has first overall pick, like, is just so bad, dude. I just can't. But I
I
can't
also
even begin to discuss it.
I wouldn't hate it also just being like if you won less than 30 games, you're in the lottery. However many teams there are that win over 30, like or less than 30, and it redistributes the odds based on that. Like just I don't want the lottery was not intended to try to get Dallas.
Yeah,
How this happened, I don't know. I don't know.
disgrace. It's disgraceful.
Yeah. I've messaged you about this though, but San Antonio moving up to number 2, I think is really interesting because it's almost too good of a pick for them to want to take it.
Mhm.
Dylan Harper is the presumptive number 2 pick, and I do see some Cade Cunningham in him. I'm not entirely sure that he is going to be nearly that good. Like he's a bigger guard. He can be physical. He's got some good passing vision. I don't think he makes as many passes as I'd like. Like he's
Mhm.
kind of two ball down. Like he's Cade Cunningham if his passing selection was that of Devin Booker. Like
Okay.
um, I don't think that makes sense in San Antonio. So I messaged you about trying to trade that pick uh, to Utah for Lauri Markkanen, and I
Mhm.
wanted to get that on the pod.
I liked that one. You know how much I love Laurie Marketing. He's 7 foot tall. He defends the rim at a level that people don't really appreciate. He is one of the best off-ball shooters in the entire league. He fits in seamlessly next to anybody. It's a smart trade. I think the big swing is obviously Giannis, and I would do that. People who are overthinking pairing Giannis with Wemby are out of their fucking minds.
I'm in
Come
that
on,
camp.
guys.
Why am I out of my mind?
Victor Wembanyama and Giannis Antetokounmpo on the same team.
Okay.
Close your eyes, visualize it. Visualize that happening. The wingspan, the help defense. They're the best defense in the NBA. And you can and it pairs well because Giannis owns the paint. And Wembanyama has this 3-point shot. It's like, God, it's so fucking good, dude. It's so I can't even begin to articulate. Like, I think if you can't imagine that defense being impossible to score on, and like, and De'Aaron Fox is on that team, man. Like, any sort of shot creation that you're worried about, you've like one of the best clutch players in basketball, one of the best ISO players in basketball. It's like a 70-win team.
So I guess where I start to get a little hesitant on that is you got to send out some salaries to make this work.
Okay.
Um, and if you're sending out salaries, you end up sending out most of your shooters, and you end up drying up a lot of the depth that San Antonio has. And just a little bit more nervous about Giannis's long term. Like Giannis was, what would you say? Just in terms of sheer basketball talent, like he wasn't second place in MVP. He wasn't. He probably won't be third. I guess he was third because
He's got to
they
be fair,
announced the
yeah.
finalists and he was the third finalist. But like,
Mhm.
is he still the second best player in basketball, third best player in basketball? How much
He's
longer
third.
does that last? And is it worth giving up the depth, the young talent, the potential future or assets to locking yourself in? Um, I don't know. I see it as a really short term thing, and I guess I'm mentally just struggling with Giannis right now. As much as I love him, my cat's name is Giannis. I've driven to Milwaukee to watch him play in person because I was like, I'm going to go and see and celebrate how special of a guy he is. I think the end of his career is going to be a little bit rough from both a play standpoint, but also just like I don't know where he fits or what team he goes to makes sense to give up enough assets to get him.
I think you're overthinking Giannis and the end of his career. He's been 30, 10, and 5 for the last 8 seasons. Nothing has really shown that he's slowing down right now. His team has been crumbling around him.
Mm-hmm.
He just handed it to he was unbelievably good against the Pacers with zero help around him. Um, Here's a trade. I threw it together. I'm not sure if I don't think Barnes isn't expiring. It's so tough. Like, is this
Just tell
contract?
me what you got.
It's Barnes, Keldon Johnson, Castle, and number 2 for Giannis, and then you can add whatever picks you want. I do that in 6 seconds.
I don't know if I do that for Milwaukee though.
Well, then add more picks. Add picks until they say yes, but you don't have to sacrifice the depth. And that's the thing with San Antonio. Like, let me
Did
see.
you had Vassell and Johnson in there?
No, it's just Castle, Johnson, and Barnes.
You kept Vassell. I guess you put in Castle. All right. If you put in Castle, that makes sense. I don't know. It makes me a little nervous trying to get that good that fast. Just like I do kind of appreciate the slow build approach. And I don't want to see the Houston trade. Because if Houston's giving up all of their young guys, except for Thompson, and then you're like, cool, we have Thompson and Giannis and some of the more veteran guys there. Like, what are you going for? I don't think it's the right fit.
Sure. No, I get that. I mean, it's going to be the summer of Giannis, like a couple of reporters have said. But I think it's going to be a slow off season because between Durant and Giannis, teams are going to be waiting for those dominoes, and it's going to be a drag. These are going to be early October trades. I feel like I just think it's going to really slow down.
Yeah. Yeah. It was supposed to also kind of be the summer of Julius Randle. He was Minnesota was going to try to move off him, and I don't think they're moving off of him now. I think
he looks great.
I think he's earned a spot to stick around. I think he'll be in our top. I don't know if he's top 30. We'll have to look at some of the numbers, but it's been a good Randle year.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Nate, it's been a pleasure. Well
been
done.
good, Aaron.
Well done.
Where can the people find you?
Possible Chairs on TikTok, Possible Chairs on Twitter. My Cameo, if you want to pay me for propaganda. Patreon for the all-time list. It was 900, I think over 900 people checking out the all-time list. It's pretty cool. Sometimes I'll go on. Yeah, sometimes I'll go on my like on the all-time list and like someone else is on there. I was like, check it out. Someone else is checking this out right now. In this podcast, next up on Thursday, probably not posted on Thursday, but maybe at least recorded top 10 players of 2012. And then we're going to open up the next year to some fan suggestions, see what people want to know.
Interested in breaking it down with you. Find me, Nate_HoopsTemple on TikTok. You also email the show, hoopstemple@gmail.com. We'd love to hear from you guys. Thanks for listening.